And just like clockwork, that's what we were expecting yesterday, that the winds would really dramatically pick up about mid-afternoon. The timing for this hurricane, it's just off of Palm Beach County into the evening hours, and around midnight, roughly off of Jupiter Inlet, and then along the Treasure Coast after that. And you'll notice because of the angle, it's coming in a little bit closer to the Treasure Coast, and still cannot rule out a landfall of a major hurricane on the Treasure Coast with this current track. And and a lot of the models, not a lot, but some very good models have that landfall, although the official forecast keeps it just offshore. There's a Category 4, that's Friday morning, and then eventually wrapping around and coming back around again toward the Bahamas on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and ending up in a position that's close to the Bahamas by about Wednesday. As far as the power outage forecast, looking at significant power outages anywhere you see red here. So they begin to pop up at 9:30 tonight, northern Palm Beach County through West Palm, and then they can continue to spread west initially, 1 in the morning, bright reds, very high chance of power outages from Jupiter down into West Palm, and then we get into Stewart, and there's 7 in the morning, stretching all the way up into the Treasure Coast, Vero. A little bit less, but still obviously some outages around Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie. Here's a closer look. And significant outages from Wellington down into Boca and Del Rey, all the way up in toward northern Palm Beach County. And as you get back to the west, this starts to slow down a little bit as far as a real widespread power outages. But little pockets here around Vero, Winter Beach, Sebastian, also Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, and Jensen Beach. And around Hope Sound, we have these bright red areas which are predicting very high chances for or probabilities for power outages from the storm. Possible storm surge. Of course, we had some mandatory evacuation along the barrier islands, and also some areas that I think residents were a little surprised that they were being evacuated. But if you live in a tidal flow through some of the canals that get a tide, and these rivers that have inlets, you're susceptible to storm surge, just the way it is. Around Jupiter, looking at a 5 to 7 foot storm surge, and I know we have many mandatory evacuations in this area. We also have 6 to 8 feet up around the St. Lucie, back around Fort Pierce. Look at how these numbers climb. 7 to 11, not only along the ocean, but in the intracoastal and any of these rivers that you get a tidal flow in, which is significant on the Treasure Coast. So that is something to keep in mind. Here are the current wind speeds. Now we're the 22 miles an hour in West Palm at the airport. It drops off quite a bit on the Treasure Coast. And our wind gusts, which we will be watching, a lot of times it's not the sustained wind that does the damage. It's the wind gust. So your sustained wind is 70 miles an hour, but your gusts are popping up and they're 80, 85 miles an hour. You get a little tear in a roof shingle or a tile, and those gusts just kind of poke at it, and they compromise the structure. And once you get a tile or two coming off your roof, you suddenly have this area where the winds can get underneath and start to really do some damage to your roof or the siding of your house or any kind of structure or building at all. So right now we're looking at, well, we're approaching tropical storm force gusts in around West Palm, 32 miles an hour. As the day goes on, in the next little while, we'll start to see even stronger winds. So I can say 70 and 80 mile an hour winds. For some folks, that may not mean a lot as far as what it means for your house or where you're living. We have tree limbs down between 40, 75 miles an hour. We're looking at some serious power outages at 75 miles an hour. Power lines down as we get into hurricane strength winds, and some power poles down, and then as we climb to 90 and 100 and 110, significant roof damage, big trees coming down, extensive power outages for an extended period of time when you get winds well into, we're starting to get into winds of Category 2 and even Category 3 hurricanes. So those are some of the wind speeds, kind of give you an idea of, as we talk through the evening and overnight, when to say the winds are approaching 75, this is some of the damage that you can expect. And also, as far as rainfall, total rainfall maybe 5, 6, 7 inches, but some of these big feeder bands could leave even more rainfall, and we'll watch that for you too. So